This week at Lebanon Road, we're talking about what not to say. This should be a lot of fun.
I've experienced a few of those
Yeah.
instances.
We could call this Remove Foot from Mouth Week if we wanted to. This is Adam Fallon. I'm with JD Butner. JD, it's the week after Thanksgiving. This is what I like to call Detox Week. It's the week when you're trying to work off Thanksgiving food because you know all the Christmas goodies and stuff are coming very soon. So
It's relentless.
yeah, this is the one week where it's like, all right, I'm actually going to stick to a good, healthy diet because next week it's probably going to end. That's right. But we want to talk this week, and we're going to give credit where it's due. The material we're going to use, or the outline we're going to use, is not original with either one of us. It was written by one of my friends, Steve Higginbotham. He preaches over in Knoxville. And he recently, his father died, and he's been blogging a lot and writing on Facebook a lot about some of his experience. He was very close to his dad, and so he's been using that for a lot of practical things, but also a lot of personal things. And he wrote an article recently that he called 7 Things Not to Say to the Grieving. And I found it to be extremely practical. And our goal this morning, JD has not seen this list, even though it's sitting right here. I'm trying to sit with my hands covering it. And I'm just going to mention each one of these to JD and sort of get his response as to, ooh, yeah, that's something we don't need to say. We're going to talk about each one just for a moment. And you can make a list longer than this, I'm sure. But Steve just writes about some of these things that either were said to him or that he has heard said to others. And he makes it clear these were not all said to him. But that people often say when someone loses a loved one or is going through a time of great difficulty, but especially when someone dies, that just don't need to be said. Here's his first one, JD. I understand exactly how you feel.
No.
Well, why do we need to say that?
Well,
Because that's easy to say, let's be honest.
yeah, and it is a struggle. You're trying to relate to that person and offer them comfort, but Maria's mother passed away a little over 3 years ago. And so I've experienced that one, and I'm sure more of these I'm going to be able to recognize too. But the fact of the matter is, even if your father has passed away, just like Steve's father has passed away, you don't understand exactly how that person feels. We can never understand exactly how that person feels. So while it may sound like it offers a lot of comfort, it really doesn't. Maybe we can combat that with, I'm sorry with what you're going through, or I can try to understand.
I can try.
Good. I don't know how you feel, but I have experienced something similar. Those sorts of things tend to be a little more comfort for the grieving.
Yeah, I've lost not literally, but I've lost my father too. It's not a bad thing to say, but I understand exactly. You don't. You just don't.
It's just, and it's not a comment on the person saying that, like you're not. It's just not possible for you to understand exactly how a person feels in a situation because you don't have their context, you don't have their history, you didn't go through the same experiences, those sorts of things. So it's not bad on you because you can't say, I know exactly how you feel.
Right. Here's the second one, the spiritual one, the hardest one to keep away from, I think.
I know.
It was God's will.
See, that, true or not true, that offers no comfort.
Exactly. That's perfect. And like I said, these are cold to JD. He has not seen this list. That's exactly it. Even if it is true, it hurts to hear in the moment.
Right. Something that Maria has said to me is, well, maybe I don't know if he or she's in a better place as one of them.
No.
Okay. Along the same vein, it was God's will. It still doesn't take away the absence that you feel for them not being in this world anymore.
Right.
So it doesn't offer any comfort.
Right, and it could or could not be. We don't know. Jesus, in one of the parables he told, seems to indicate that some things do happen by chance. The parable of the Good Samaritan, he said, and by chance a priest was going down that road. So it seems to indicate that some things in this life are random, or just by chance. Now, it could be God's will, but I don't need to go there, especially in the moment.
Yeah, we can't question God's will.
Number 3, and the one that said I have heard at a children's funeral before, God needed another angel.
See, there's nothing in the Bible. Well, again, it's the same thing. That doesn't help the absence that I feel in the loss. And the other thing is, there's nothing in the Bible that points to people becoming angels. So
It sounds comforting,
Yes.
but not to the person who's grieving.
No.
But I've heard that said, especially at a children's visitation funeral. That one I'm going to stop because that one gets all over me.
Yeah, right.
Here's number 4. You don't need to cry.
I don't even know who would say that.
I have heard that said,
Really?
because someone, quote,
Maybe like, you don't need to cry. They're in a
better place.
So,
They were suffering, now they're not suffering, but I do need to cry.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
someone is crying, maybe they do need to cry. There is a literal, release there that's natural. It's okay. Jesus wept. That's everybody's favorite Bible verse.
Right.
And we go into the funeral
It was at the
home.
death of a
Yeah,
of a
and we go in
person.
the funeral home and tell somebody, just because you don't need to do that, but it's because what we say sometimes at funerals, this is a celebration of somebody was a Christian, that they've gone on to reward, but it still hurts on our side of things.
Absolutely. We could be happy that they are in heaven now and with God for eternity, but we can also be sorrowful that we don't have them directly in our lives that way anymore. So that's, like you just said, that's natural. You've got to process your emotions or bad things happen.
That's right.
So
here's the next one, and one that I've said, probably everybody has said, but needs to be said in a different way. If you need anything, just let me know.
yeah, that's a nice sentiment, I think, but it might be more helpful to be more specific.
Or to just do something for them.
Without saying.
Yeah, that's what I've
asking.
heard people who have gone through a lot of grieving
That's
say.
a good point,
The best
too.
thing to do is just to do, don't take over their lives, but just bring them a meal, or just send the card, or just say, hey, I'm going to watch your kids tonight, or whatever it is. Instead, if you need anything, well, they need something.
Right.
And if you're close enough to the person, you can usually know something that they need. And so, just the vagueness. Here's number 6, and this one I can't imagine anybody saying, but I guess some people would. I want to read exactly as he wrote this one. At least you're young and can have more children or marry again.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm sure that has been said,
I can't imagine saying it,
but
I think that's the best reaction possible.
well, I mean, everything that we've said that sort of before it applies to that right there. It doesn't take away the absence.
No.
Oh man.
And the scary part is, especially if it's have children again, you don't know that that's true.
Right.
You're young, you have children again. That may not be true. Now marriage could be, it doesn't matter if you're young. You could desire marriage again or not, but you still don't need to say it. But you can have more kids. That may not be true.
Yeah.
And that could be even more pain on top of everything else. Here's the last one. Running out of time here. It's better this way.
It's better this way.
It's better this way.
It's just, for someone who's grieving, it's not better this way. I mean, it just isn't. I mean, yes, again, if that person was a Christian and they are in heaven now, it may be better for them, but for the grieving, it's not better this way.
Right.
That was somebody who played an important role in their life, and now there is an absence there. So for that person, that absence, it's not better to have that absence than for it to have previously been filled.
I've heard people not say this, but I've read articles about people who said that someone said this kind of thing to them. For example, when they lost a special needs child, or a special needs adult who had lived their whole life, with some mental disability or something, and it's better this way. Well, not for the person who's grieving. That was still their child, or whatever, their nephew or whatever it happened to be. And their life was difficult taking care of that person, every need basically, but they loved that person. It's not better. That was their life.
Yeah.
And so I found this extremely practical, because
that's
some of
really
those are so easy to say, especially to me. If you need anything, let me know. It's so easy to fall back on. Steve ends this. I'm just going to read his words there. He says, if you struggle with words to say, then may I suggest the following. He just lists 3 very quickly. Number 1, I'm sorry. Number 2, I'm praying for you. Number 3, I love you. I think that's a perfect list.
Yeah.
There are times you go to the funeral home or the hospital right after someone passes away, and you don't know what to say. Sometimes nothing is the best. Just a hug.
Absolutely. I'm a big advocate for that. Nothing is the best thing to say.
Especially when you don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to say one of these 7 things, obviously, but I can't tell you how many times I'll just come up to someone who's lost a person and I'll just hug them and they'll just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. You
Yeah.
know, I didn't say
Didn't say
anything.
anything.
You know, but a hug and no bad choice of words can go a long way.
Yeah, and I would give one more to add to the list of things to say if you're struggling, and that is share a memory. Yeah, people like to hear what somebody meant to you. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a long story, but just, you know, that was she was my favorite teacher, or you know, they helped me in my yard. Just
Yeah.
that people like to hear that short little, this is why I'm here, you know, this was my connection. Because sometimes in the moment, you know, my grandparents died. I didn't know all the people in that line. I was grieving. I was hurting. I knew their face, but I couldn't give you a clue as to, you know, why. But then they said something. Oh yeah, that's the connection. That's why they knew grandma. That's why they know my family, and that made a difference to me. So again, just some practical things here this week. We hope this has encouraged you. We don't have a lot of, by the way, of announcements, so we're just going to end up this week and look forward to be back with you again next week on the videos. Until then, this is This Week at Lebanon Road.